Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Worldology. Today we have a new community update and I'm just going to get it started because I have a lot of things to say regarding to this community update. So, first and foremost, Season 2 initial learnings. The upcoming maps for Battlefield 6 will expand the available airspace to give pilots more room to maneuver while keeping ground combat readable and balanced. Gorman Railway map will be focused on scale, vehicle depth, and consistent pacing across the full play space. Additional topics under monitoring. Movement impacts every layer of gameplay, and updates here need to be deliberate and measured. With other gameplay systems evolving alongside it, DICE wants to evaluate how the overall combat experience settles before making further changes. Progression, Season 2 introduced improvements, but this topic remains an active and ongoing discussion internally. They're closely tracking how the Season 2 changes are landing and gathering data on how players engage with different paths. Our goal is for the time you invest regardless of mode or playstyle to feel rewarding and fair. They share more details on additional progression changes later in this update. Portal. Previously, DICE initially delayed adding new hardware to the SDK to allow additional time for stabilization and bug fixes. This included delaying the addition of the Little Bird AH6M, which will be added to the SDK in a future update. They're currently evaluating this approach for future seasons, so while this may not always be possible, their goal is to support new hardware in Portal as soon as it launches. They've also received reports of latency, rubber banding, and some player-made experiences. Their investigation shows that having more than 40 vehicles in the experience can cause unnecessary lag. This includes vehicles that are spawned but not actively in use. Another alteration they've seen that improves latency is having the player count lowered from 64. They are continuing to investigate long-term solutions while also working to improve overall performance. Note, DICE will be sharing a dedicated blog soon that takes a deeper look at ongoing quality of life improvements, including hit registration, netcode, time to kill tuning, soldier visibility, and audio updates. Nightfall update, upcoming QOL improvements, progression. DICE is introducing targeted adjustments aimed at smoothing the overall progression pacing and reducing unnecessary grind. Weapon mastery progression will feel faster and more consistent. Ping system, DICE is addressing an issue where enemies spotted using the recon drone would not consistently remain marked for squad members. In some cases, the spotter would briefly appear and then disappear. Even when visibility is maintained, this fix ensures drone spotting behaves more reliably, and remains visible when appropriate. Later in the season, improvements to ping system clarity, reducing visual noise, and strengthening squad readability. Looking further ahead, improvements to how ping are prioritized, how responsive they feel, and how they are presented. Red set. Port Linden is expanding beneath the surface with a new underground POI, permanently introducing a new combat space. This location will temporarily feature higher tier loot to spotlight the new POI, update chest visuals, and new icon will help indicate reward tiers. Weapons will become more lootable containers once missions be disabled. Airstrikes will be rebalanced as part of this update. Most will be found in a new POI or earned as mission rewards, with significantly reduced availability in standard containers across the map. Anti-vehicles crates will no longer spawn without loot inside. Later in season, new armor drop strike package to provide additional defensive options in late game scenarios. Ammo drop supply will be increased and armor plates will be added. Additional armor plates will replace grenades and MRAPVs and safes to further improve armor availability. So I had to get through the portal section really quick because I did not want to talk about that. It's very irrelevant. So focusing on what they said about the movement and the progression and portal, everything like that, I'm just going to get it started with the movement. First, DICE stated that movement impacts every layer of gameplay and updates here need to be deliberate and measured. So we are getting Gorman Railway, the biggest map in the game, and also is more vehicle oriented. So the thing is, with the vehicle oriented map and slow movement, I wonder if they're actually saying that like we're actually going to get faster movement or movement that's more measured to flow for a large map, right? Because again, first of all, what do y'all think we should have slow movement with a lot of vehicles on a large map, a large desert map? If you don't know what Gulman Railway looked like, then you can look back and see on the, on the old Wikipedia, whatever you can find on the Gulman Railway, and see how it looks overall on the overall map. So the thing is with that is that having, in my opinion, having a big desert map with like jets, like probably four jets, whatnot, three tanks, and basically almost 2 to none buildings, you can't really go anywhere when you're running across the field or whatnot, especially since we don't have any smokes, only on one class, and people will obviously play recon and other different classes like that to support the obviously desert oriented map, right? So the thing is, having a more measured and actually deliberate gameplay type for movement and everything like that is obviously we need to make the game faster. That's the only way you can do it. We need to go back to the BF4 6.5 style of speed, right? Because that's the only option you can have. You can add CQC maps plus the largest map in the game that everybody is asking for. But that's the iffy situation, because obviously if we have a big map like that, because that's the only big map in the game, which is for some odd reason they include it into this game because it's not a good flow map, very vehicle oriented, how are we going to have faster movement for every single part of the game when we can't even do it? Obviously they can rework the whole map, but is reworking the whole map going to be good for the flow of the map anyway? That's the whole question for it. And since they are fixing vehicles, they have a battlefield lab playtest. I don't know when is when, but they are having a playtest to fix the vehicles and see how the vehicles should work in the game. Obviously they should be like BF4, but we're going to get into that. The progression on season 2 introduced improvements, but this topic remains active in the ongoing discussion internally. We're closely tracking how the season 2 changes are landing, gathering data, and blah 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 like that. Alright, so progression. The main reason for progression being so faulty is basically only the weapons, right? Okay, so the weapons in the game they are very easy to have in the game, and I don't see why you can't really make the progression more just toned down. You already toned it down once and it's still OP for some odd reason. I don't see what the trolling is about not having wards for the casual players, and obviously the players who are good at the game, because obviously the progression in the game wholeheartedly kind of supports the competitive players and the players who are above average or wanting to get better and whatnot. It supports those players, obviously, right? Because it takes about 3 weeks to a month to be able to get a whole gun completed or mastered to level 50. That's the mastery camo that you get, the unstoppable force and everything like that. To an average player, a below average player, a 1 KD player, possibly a 2 KD player, it can take about 2 weeks or whatnot. So yeah, I don't see why you can't really make the gameplay more rewarding first for the progression, because obviously the gameplay is not rewarding and people will actually not want to play the game, since the game isn't as fun to progress the weapons on and even level up on. I just don't see what the issue is, right? So we're going to get on Portal right here, right? We're going to talk about the game modes, the Portal, and the servers. And a lot of creators said, first and foremost, I'm going to get on the Portal servers. We're saying that the Portal servers is having unnecessary lag, rubber banding, because they have more than 40 vehicles in a server, and the only way they can reduce rubber banding and everything like that is basically having a player count lowered to 60, from 64 to like 48 and whatever like that. So the thing with that is that we have like a server browser inside the game. First and foremost, I'm just going to get it started. We had the server browser in the game. I keep saying it. Having a server browser in the game, plus 10 game modes, plus having a matchmaking server, plus having live service and fixing the game while we're playing the game. That's not going to make the game run and optimize in a very good manner. We did not have that many stuff able in 2042, BF5, BF1, BF4, BF3. That's the main issue. If we need a server browser, we need to put it on a battle log. It is still up. We can still use the battle log. It's no reason why we shouldn't use it, because obviously, it's just nobody's going to look on the game at all times. People obviously will want to check their stats off of the game. It's a normal human being thing, right? And the thing with looking at another thing with looking at the portal servers, right, is that a lot of big creators said that if we should have persistent servers, which they are coming into the game, it's stated that they're coming into the game, that we should have persistent servers with start matchmaking. Not necessarily in that way, but persistent servers should be available when we start to play matchmaking and then go into that same one. And that is a good solution, but it's also an iffy situation, because how can they do that since they have a server browser in the game already, and then they also have many different servers and game modes that we don't even know what's playing on. And then if we press the start matchmaking, then we keep going into that game, how can we know we're going to get into that same game? Is very impossible unless we have something that we obviously know we chose in that server. It's a very, like, they made it so confusing that it doesn't even, it's not possible to grasp why guys y'all are doing all of this for no exact reason. I don't see why y'all are testing everything in this small little game, and I honestly don't even know how it's only 70 something gigabytes. Maybe if I uninstall the game, which I kind of want to, and reinstall it, it'll probably be 130. But the thing is, there's so many different servers on the game, and so many different game modes on the game, so many different aspects on the game that makes it buggy, that is very impossible to understand the whole complexity of like what's going on behind the scenes of the like game that we're playing. It's just like weird. And the progression in the pinging system, the pinging system already been broke. Can't even mark correctly. I don't really see too much about that, considering people like us, we always want to ping, obviously press Q. Pressing Q, pinging, it doesn't really work that much. I don't even ping because I keep forgetting to ping because the pinging doesn't work. So I'd be like, oh yeah, I don't really need to ping, and that is a bad habit. And if pinging does get fixed, that is a habit that needs to be fixed. That's just very big weird thing that's going on with DICE. I don't get why you are doing this much activity for no exact reason, making it too complex for no exact reason when y'all can literally do some very simple task. So I'm just going to get on to the next topic. It's going to be a quick topic. We're going to get on the hacking situation. So I haven't really been across many cheaters or cheaters in the game. I probably have, but I just never really paid attention because I'm obviously always paying attention to how bad the game is at the current moment. But according to Shark, Battlefield is listed as one of the shooters with less cheat-related web searches alongside Valorant. So pulling up the chart up, it looks like Battlefield is not necessarily on the board of having the most cheaters, right? It's only one person who's cheated, or according to 66 per 1,000 players. All right, so the next topic that they had about having the community update for Battlefield 6 that DICE uploaded for cheaters, right, is that they blocked about 360,000 cheaters in the whoever's trying to log in. I don't know how they get the cheats. I don't know if it's the Cronus Zen. Back then they did that. They blocked the Cronus and everything like that. But I honestly don't know. And the match infection rate is about 2 to 4. So that's kind of confusing. Maybe like every 2 to 4 matches, like we obviously encounter cheater and we don't know. But obviously the game is so bugged out, like we die behind walls from a controller, we don't necessarily know if we're facing a cheater because the game isn't that optimizable to actually understand. So I'm just going to end this video off here. It was just some quick news. And also, final remark that there's some new, snow map thing that you can do in Portal. You can have snow inside other different maps. I don't know if they're going to add new snow maps into the upcoming season 2 or season 3 or whatnot. That's a little bit too late because we're in spring, going on summer. But I'm just going to leave it off there. Hope you like, share, and subscribe. I am Worldology on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. And I'll be sure to stream Battlefield 6, the second part of the season 2 on March the 17th, hopefully. And just, yeah, take care of yourself. If you don't want to play this game, you probably shouldn't really play this game. It's nothing really going on. Everybody is doing their own thing now. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it off there. Y'all have a good one.